Hey, Noble Ones, welcome back. Again, I swear, like, stuff keeps happening. The posting once a day is not enough. Well, here I am. Welcome back, I suppose. To hell. Okay, so we've got a shooting. Michigan church shooting leaves multiple victims. Police say shoot it down. Unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. Like, we can't go 2 days without something like this happening. We'll have to see if we can figure out the motives behind it. And one good way to figure out the motives is to see how CNN reports it, because then we can say that the opposite is probably true. Regardless, let's see if we can check a few of the updates here, figure out the information. My gosh, look at that. The whole building is ablaze. Goodness, is this the piece of shit? So we know who the suspect is. Let's see what we can find out. So let's check out first Yahoo News very quickly. 2 dead and several injured in shooting and fire at Michigan church, says police. A gunman opened fire inside a Michigan church during Sunday services before apparently setting the building ablaze, killing at least 2 people and injuring several others before police shot him, authorities said. Hundreds of people were inside the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in Grand Blanc Township when a 40-year-old man rammed his pickup truck through the front door, then got out of the vehicle and started shooting, police chief William Rain told reporters. Police believe he deliberately set the building on fire. Well, yeah, I would say so. I would suppose so. All right, so let me see if I can give you some extra information on this, because as usual, I want to try and report as much correct information plus adding supplemental data whenever I can. So what we read here, we have this Facebook post, which is interesting, 18 hours ago. So the 40-year-old suspect from Burton crashes a truck into the church at around 10 a.m. Keep that one in mind. During a service and began shooting with an assault rifle. I don't know why they call it assault rifle. I think that's imprecise. It's just a rifle. Police said, probably police didn't say this. He was killed in a shootout with the police. Okay. So already I'm figuring this one out. So the fact that they say it was during service, it means from the LDS perspective, so the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, that they were having what is called a sacrament meeting, which would be the Mormon version of a, say, Catholic mass. So it's basically the main meeting where they have speakers, talks, and then they take the sacrament, which would be similar to Catholic communion, if you will. It's just that they actually use bread instead of using, how do you say, ostia, for crying out loud? How the heck? Ostia. Well, it translates it as a host or a wafer. So yeah, that thing that is used in Catholicism for communion. Usually in LDS churches, they either start their day with the sacrament meeting where everyone is attending, men, women, and children, or they start with Sunday classes, which are then they have Sunday school, and then they have priesthood meeting for men and Relief Society for women, and usually that's after, or they start with the classes and then they have the main meeting. So this must be one of those units where they were starting, since it's 10 a.m., with the actual main meeting. Another thing that I'm noticing here is that they say that there were hundreds of people in attendance, which means this was not a branch, it was a ward, which is the bigger unit. Basically, a ward has a bishop, just to give you an idea. Continuing. After the suspect left the church, 2 officers pursued him and engaged in gunfire. The man was killed. Good, I'm glad. Flames and smoke could be seen for hours before the blaze was put out. That is insane. That's crazy. They think there might be additional victims in the rubble. Goodness gracious. So, from what I can read, at least 2 have already died because of gun wounds. Authorities did not provide any additional details about the suspect, including whether he was a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, widely known as the Mormon Church. Well, let's see if we can figure that one out. But, I mean, if he was a member, it would have been... I mean, that's not what active Mormons do. 2 dead and several injured. So, okay. All right, let's see CNN. At least 1 dead and 9 others wounded. At least 1 person was killed and 9 others were wounded in a shooting at the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Okay. We already know this. The guy is from Michigan. Authorities will execute a search warrant at the suspect's residence and go through cell phone records to find out if there was a motive. Yeah. Rain said the FBI has allocated 100 agents to the area. Okay, that's good. Statements from witnesses. Let's see what we can figure out about this guy. What we know about Thomas Jacob Sanford, the Michigan church shooting suspect, aka piece of shit. Michigan law enforcement authorities identified 40-year-old Thomas Jacob Sanford of Burton, Michigan as the suspect who killed 2 people and injured 8 others when he rammed a pickup truck into a church in central Michigan and opened fire. I'll have to say, it is horrible that this happened, but it could have been a lot worse considering there were hundreds in attendance and he had an automatic rifle. One of the 8 injured victims is in critical conditions while the 7 others are in stable conditions. Okay. I want to also see what New York Times says. Yeah, they're probably going to say he's a conservative. Thomas Jacob Sanford, 5 shocking things. Right. So it is this guy. Motive. Authorities declined to reveal the motive behind the shooting. Investigators did not provide details about the suspect, including whether he was a member of the church. Well, authorities, we would like to know. The New York Post earlier reported that Thomas Sanford was a war veteran, according to the outlet, citing his mother's Facebook post. 40-year-old served in Iraq. I'm glad he didn't injure more people than if he was a professional. Because, of course, we all want to know. I mean, let's address the elephant in the room. Let's address the elephant in the room. Was this politically motivated? We want to know. We want to know. We deserve to know. That's where we live. We need to know. And do remember that there was a recent, apart from the assassination of Charlie Kirk, but there was a recent shooting at a church. Only on that time it was a Catholic church, on the children. Now, this doesn't mean that automatically this is a politically motivated action. We should look at evidence before we state that. But if we're going to be actually honest, intellectually honest, if this is a private matter and the guy just hated Mormons and needed to go and shoot them, that's one thing. But if it is politically motivated, then it's coming from the left. Like, this is clear, right? I'm not stating that that's the case, but considering the fact that we have had several in the last few days, weeks, and they keep coming, they keep happening, you can't gaslight us anymore. I'm not once again saying that that's the case, but I'm saying it is more likely. Also because, what's the percentage of Mormons that vote conservatives? Like, what, 90%? Party affiliation, US voters. There you go. Yeah, there we go. I was actually quite close. So, as you see, Protestant, kind of higher, Republican voters, white evangelical, very high, in fact, this is probably the highest. Black Protestant tend to vote mostly Democratic. Catholics are kind of split with a slight higher number of conservatives. And then if you look at that split within white Catholics, then 61% are going to vote right-wing, and Hispanic tend to vote left-wing. But Latter-day Saints, 75% are conservative. So there is, not to mention that in general, it's a very tradition-oriented church. Now, the church does not tell people who to vote, so every member of the church can vote for whoever they want, but due to the fact that they're very traditionalists, if you will, then this happens. So if it's not politically motivated, that's another thing. It could still be an act of hatred towards religion in general, so there is that. But if it is politically motivated, then at that point this becomes another crazy leftist who just started to shoot people. I don't know it yet, but I'm just being honest with you. Why? Because CNN is 100% gonna tell you this guy was MAGA. Now, if this guy was MAGA, that would very surprise me. But if that's the case, I'll report it. I don't care. I just want to know the truth. I'm just telling you, just being straight and honest with you. What's more likely? What's more likely? New York Post. All right, let's see the lies. Cops probing whether Michigan church shooting has ties to Mormon leader's death. Report. I swear they will find anything to prevent you from figuring out the truth. So what they're saying now is that because of the fact that I believe, today or yesterday, the president of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, President Nelson, died. Now they're going to create, it's very likely, you never know. Maybe this guy really hated President Nelson and decided, you know what, I'm going to, since your prophet just died, then I'm going to take out all 17 million of you one by one. Clowns. Absolute clowns. Unbelievable. New York Post. Russell M. Nelson, according to report. Yeah. Investigators are urgently working the shooter's motive, checking for any recent threat to congregation and whether the attack's timing bears any relation to Nelson's passing on Saturday. So it happened on Saturday in Salt Lake City at age 101. Well, let me tell you this much, ABC, DEFG News. How about investigators check for his political affiliation first, considering the wave of insane, politically motivated, lethal violence that has been happening in the last weeks, months, I don't even know now. Politically motivated crimes that have just happened. How about you check that one instead of seeing, I don't know, because the guy just died, the prophet died Saturday. So maybe this guy wanted to do what? Send more members of the church to be with the prophet? Like, what are you on about? What are you on about? Check his political affiliation first, so we can immediately look and see if there is a connection. Second, you should check, it's unbelievable I gotta say this. Second thing, you need to check his phone, computer, tablets, all of his history, and see, because if the guy was watching news that have to do with, for instance, the assassination of Charlie Kirk or the other shootings that happened or the attacks on ICE, then it's very likely that he was some kind of copycat and decided, yeah, I want to do something too. Let me take out as many members of this church as possible, right? Like, you see how that makes a lot more sense than saying, maybe it's because the president just happened to die the day before. Nah. Nonsense. So, we want to know what happened. We want to know his political affiliations. Now, I was on X, of course, checking for stuff. I found some information, but I don't know if it's true. So I'm going to need you to give me a day at least to double check it, but I am going to share it with you very quickly. So CNN is posting, police identify the suspect. They posted this like an hour and a half ago, 2 hours ago. And then there is people already in the comments speculating for stuff. One person is saying he was MAGA, while someone else here is saying another leftist incident. When does it ever end with these people? And this disgusting person saying, where was God? Oh, I hate people like you. You're disgusting. I'm going to block you immediately. I don't want to have to do with scum. So anyways, as you can see, people are already making it into, let's see if we can claim this. That's what people are doing. Before the fact, though, if you notice, all I'm doing is I'm telling you what I believe to be the most logical conclusion, the most probable, but I'm also telling you until I see evidence, I'm not going to say it. I'm going to say, this is what I think, maybe it's more probable, and that's it. Instead, people are just saying, no, that's what it was. Because they don't even care about the people who are dead on the ground. All they care about is how can we claim it as a political move. What is this guy even saying? Is anyone surprised that he was another MAGA? No, me either. Apart from the fact it's me neither or me neither. Learn your fucking grammar, Eltron. Also, what, have you been under a rock? Did you see I didn't see an assassination of Destiny. I didn't see an assassination of Hassan Piker. I didn't see an attempted assassination on neither Biden nor Kamala Harris. You filthy, pathetic liar. This person says, let me guess, another mentally sick liberal. It could be, that's the more probable one. Absolutely. If this offends you, it's not my problem. You're offended by the truth at this point. Anyways, let's see what people say, that he was MAGA. Right. MAGAs are definitely shooting up churches. Yeah, that too. Okay, so someone has found this information, which it has his name, and then it says Blue Origin LLC Political Action Committee, Blue Origin PAC. But I don't know. I need to verify this. I'm not just going to do what these people are doing, the ones that are saying, it's MAGA, it's MAGA. Okay, well, I'm not going to do the same in reverse. I'm seeing this, but I don't know. So I'm not going to use this to be like, Blue Origin LLC, is this some Democratic guy? Is it a Democrat? I don't know. We need the actual information before we say stuff like this. What we can do right now, there you go. You see, so this guy is clearly, but again, it could be someone with the same name, but maybe it's not him. Act Blue. So if this is real, it means his political affiliation would have been with the left. But we don't know that, one, because I haven't confirmed this. This could be anyone could be posting this and manufacturing it, right? So we can't just run with it. What we need to do is stay focused, see if the authorities grace us with some details, and just wait for them to go through his personal belongings. And after the information has come out, we need to report it as is. So if for whatever reason, which would strongly surprise me, this guy was just a Christ-loving conservative, right? And he just decided that he wanted to shoot some conservatives who were praying at church, it would strongly surprise me, but if that's what happened, I'll say it. On the other hand, if it comes up that this is another far-left lunatic, then something needs to be done about this, because this is not acceptable. In that case, too, I will report it.
What we know right now is that a 40-year-old suspect from Burton, he's a male, he drove his vehicle through the front doors of the church. He then exited his vehicle, firing several rounds at individuals within the church. 10 gunshot victims have been transported to local hospitals at this time, including one who has been deceased. Officers who were trained immediately responded to the area. One was a DNR officer, and then one was a Grambling Township officer.
I'll have to say, the officers did respond very quickly, so that's very good.
suspect, and they engaged in gunfire with that particular individual,
Yeah.
neutralizing that suspect, and that suspect is no longer with us. As I said, it is a 40-year-old male from Burton. During all this incident as well, there was a fire that occurred, and we believe that was deliberately set by the suspect. We do believe that we will find additional victims once we have that scene secure. That fire was just extinguished by the Grambling Township Fire Department within the past hour.
Okay. All right, so nothing new though. Oh, I know him. I know this guy. Yeah.
I bring all these folks up here on stage today because we couldn't do this as a community without everyone who's standing up here today. We got with me on stage U.S. Attorney Jerome Gorgon, Acting Special Agent in charge of the FBI Reuben Gleeman, Special Agent in charge of the ATF James Deere, Grambling Township Supervisor Scott Bennett, Grambling Township Fire Chief Gent, Genesee County Sheriff's Department Sheriff Chris Swanson,
Chris
and
Swanson,
MSP Michigan State Police Captain Greg Marenko. I'm going to provide an update from the incident that we spoke about earlier today that occurred at the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints at 10:25 a.m.
Latter.
I want to talk about our officer's response. That call came out at 10:25 a.m. and 32 seconds. We had officers on scene at 10:25 and 57 seconds.
Insane. That's great.
The suspect, again, we're in the preliminary stages right now, was neutralized at 10:33:44 in the parking lot of that church. That suspect is a 40-year-old male from the city of Burton, who we identified as Thomas Jacob Sanford. That's Thomas Jacob Sanford, S-A-N-F-O-R-D. Currently where we're at, an update, I gave you 10 victims who were victims of gunshot. Since then, we have 2 victims who are now deceased. One additional one had died at a local hospital. And again, that suspect is deceased as well. 7 other victims at this time are in stable condition.
Okay, that's good.
1 is in critical condition. Now, for the reunification, I had a question earlier about, hey, where can people call to see if their loved one is okay at the reunification center? I want to provide a number for you for that. It's 248-705-7352. Also, I know that our community is hurting right now, and we want to provide some resources for our community moving forward. At the Genesis Athletic at 8 p.m. Thank you.
Okay, well, I wish they told us a little bit about the perpetrator and possible motives. Thank you for being with me, and I will see you tomorrow. If you appreciate my content so far and wish to help ensure my ability to continue to tell it how it is, regardless of any possible backlash, please support this channel on Patreon. Any support helps me and my team of academics keep the channel strong and gives us the means to fight back against the political rewriting of history. Stand with us, form the wall, defend the truth.